7:33, and we would like to call to order the March 10th meeting of the Common Council. If you'd please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, if you'll please read the prepared statement and call the roll.
March 10th, 2020. Please be advised this meeting is being taped for audio and video broadcast. The meeting will also be closed captioned. It's important that everyone speak clearly into the microphones and only one person speak at a time. Assisted listening devices are available. Mr. Burnett.
Present.
Ms. Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Langella.
Present.
Mr. Sachinelli. Ms. Smith.
She's here.
Present.
Mr. Hulaman. Mr. Hulaman?
Here.
Mr. Roberts.
Present.
Mr. Dumas. Ms. Young.
Here.
Mr. Kides.
Here.
Mr. Theodorides.
Here.
Mr. Keegan. Here. Mr. Sirenides.
Here.
Mr. Livingston.
Here.
Ms. Shanahan.
Here.
13 present who have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting of February 25th. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion from Ms. Young. Any corrections, deletions? Mr. Burnett?
Yes, on page 9, the paragraph in the middle of the page states, he said it was essential that the drawdown not impact the city's bond. It should be rating and not raging.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Maybe that's not a...
It could go either way, but the correct, I stated rating
Okay.
is the correct term.
Any other corrections or omissions, additions, deletions? Seeing none, all in favor of the minutes as corrected? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the public participation. We'll get the list.
Good evening, Council and Mayor and everyone else. I'm here to speak on behalf of people that are being appointed to the Harbor Commission. I'm the chairman of the Harbor Commission, who's working diligently to keep you guys and our water safe. And we're doing a lot of heavy lifting, as I've said in the past. And tonight we're looking for reappointments of Alan Kibbe, which was known by many of you, and you appointed him last year to fill a term, and Dennis Santella, who's seeking an additional term. And we have a new member, Matt Gifford, who is a River Drive, East Norwalk resident, and he's a resident of Marvin Beach. He's the Commodore of the Marvin Beach Yacht Club, and he's a member of the Sprite Island Yacht Club, past Commodore of the Sprite Island Yacht Club, Harbor Master of Sprite Island Yacht Club, member of East Norwalk Yacht Club, and on and on and on. Obviously he has an affinity for the waters. So I hope you guys look at these guys very seriously. We need help in our heavy lifting. Moving forward into the future, and being that this is being televised, I'd like to put a public call out there. If there are, we're a male commission, and if there's any women that have an affinity for what we do, for boating, care about the harbor, want to have some input, we're welcome. Just please forward to Donna King or to myself directly an application, a willingness to serve, and we very much look forward to having some diversity on our commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romano.
Diane Lauricella.
Hi, good evening. Diane Loricella, 49 Taylor Avenue. I'm here tonight to speak to two issues. The first one, very briefly, is I'm very pleased that we are doing a food composting or food recovery, scrap recovery system, but I wanted to let you know that the public, from what I understand, does not have to purchase these containers in order to take their food waste, and they need to have the bags. And so I'm just asking Ms. Shanahan and others who have been so good about championing this. The reason I'm here tonight mainly is to ask that you table at least one out of the 3 Harbor Commission appointments. The reason I'm asking for this is that it's Women's History Month. We women are also celebrating, as is the country, the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. It's 2020, not 1920. I'm here tonight to shine a light on an issue that I know many of you care about: gender and diversity equity for volunteers serving on our boards, commissions, and authorities. I did not want to attend tonight, but I was not able to convince the leadership that once again, after many, many years, an important board and commission had several appointees up for a vote. Now, the thing is, I offer, and I'm going to pass out when I am finished, I'm passing out both a sheet with solutions to how we can break this process problem, which I think has caused this, and number 2, a actual commission on the status of women that is on the books but has not been reactivated. And I've spoken with the mayor about this before. I ask that you reactivate Chapter 115, the Commission on the Status of Women, begun by Mayor Collins in the 1980s. If we had such a commission, I believe that this issue would not be an issue, because we would use creative ways to find out why some women are just not feeling safe or comfortable putting forth their resumes. I know that the mayor, as I said before, in public, I am so pleased that the mayor and this council has appointed some wonderful women of color and white women, to various boards and commissions. But on some of the power boards and commissions, I have been keeping track, just because I saw a trend that I was shocked at. This has permeated over many other administrations. It's not just unique to this one, but this is the one where we are at. I'm very pleased we now have 4 women on this council, and I think there's nowhere to go but up. I ask that we create a transparent portal on the city website, on social media, and in the news to announce openings. We have to fix the process that is not working and explore why women are not submitting their resumes, and fix the pipeline pathway. I did approach Mr. Romano, who I am friendly with. He's a great guy and he volunteers a lot. However, he was unwilling to ask to remove at least one of the 3, just put and table them. And I understand you are not going to be willing to do so either. This is a time for you to show some leadership, and I ask that you again, that you ask once again that you table one of those board, not because the nominees are unworthy. That is not what I'm saying. In fact, I get along with a lot of the Harbor Commission now, and I'm on the Mayor's Water Quality Committee, which is a subset of the Harbor Commission. But I was one of the first Harbor Commissioners back in Bill Collins' day. So this means a lot to me because I know there are qualified women. In my discussion with Mr. Romano, he unfortunately felt that because he needs construction and engineering people, there probably aren't many women that are in that field. I say that is just not so. But if we never look for these things, just like if we never look for coronavirus testing, we will never find it. And I know you have a lot on your plate with this coronavirus testing tonight, but I ask again that you assemble a group of women, including me, to create a pathway to gender equity after tonight, because I know the mayor and this council cares about this topic. But I also know that we are not achieving what we say during campaigns and what we say every day. Please, I ask that you can reconsider and table at least one of these for the fact that it is Women's History Month. I appreciate your time, and I'll take one of each of the packets, and I think you will see that this is achievable. Thank you.
Debbie Rozelle.
Hi, good evening. My name's Debbie Rozelle, and I'm here advocating for my husband, Philip Rozelle. who was a Norwalk police officer for 31 years. He was accidentally shot in gun training. And as a direct result, he is now in kidney failure and needs a transplant. And he's not well, he's very sick, so I'm here advocating. So I have some questions and concerns on the procedure, compliance for the Public Act 19-111. And Section 3 in the subsection D states the disciplinary records, performance appraisals for the retiree must be submitted along with the request for special legislation retirement request. So my question is, what does an employee's work performance have bearing on whether or not they receive special legislation now that they have been permanently injured in the line of duty? The employee has now paid the price and has to live with this for the rest of their lives. Number 2, Section 6, subsection A, states that the City of Norwalk retains the right to recover money if the retiree's third-party settlement. The question is, the procedure policy does not specify how much the City of Norwalk would like to recover. So how much, what percentage, what dollar amount is the city looking for if there is a potential lawsuit or settlement in the future? Section 6, subsection B, states that the City of Norwalk will require periodic medical evaluations. My question is, how often will these periodic evaluations occur? What doctor will the retiree need to see? Will the city be appointed the doctor, or will it be the retirees? Section 6, subsection C, states that the city retains the right to offset and post-retirement employment income. My question, how much of the retiree's post-retirement income would the city look to recover? What percentage? This is another section I do not agree with, for the simple fact that the injured employee has already lost the ability to earn what he or she would have earned. Now, if the retiree is lucky enough to find alternative employment, that have to give a portion of what to the city. I don't believe that's fair. I'm in human resources. I've been doing this for 20 years. It's very difficult for, we're talking about severe injuries, and the likelihood of the retiree getting another opportunity is probably slim to none. So if by chance they have some motivation and they would like to do that, why take that away? I mean, this is a benefit that is supposed to be helping the retiree. I feel that there's a lot of taking, and a benefit is something that's supposed to be helping. So these are just some of the questions and concerns. I want to thank you all for letting me speak, and thank you.
Thank you. No one else is signed to address the council. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to the council? Thank you. We'll close public participation, and we'll move on to resignations and appointments. There are no resignations. Under appointments, the first appointment is to the Arts Commission. We have Brian Kasper. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Roberts.
So I would like to speak about Brian today. Brian does sit on the, well, I sit on the actual Arts Commission. Brian's a wonderful candidate. He does come to every meeting. He's a well-known person within the community. He's very creative, and from his extensive background with art and his lovely resume, he's passionate at what he does. And for about 9 years, he's been building a wallpaper company, and he's a freelance designer as well. But I think that I know that he will be a great contribution within the Arts Commission, so I definitely would support this.
Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Congratulations. Is Brian here?
I don't see Brian here today.
Okay, well, congratulations anyway. Next item on the agenda is the appointment to the Fair Rent Commission of Diana Revolis. Revolis, is that the correct pronunciation? That's what I saw, Revolis.
I like it down.
Yeah, I thought that would probably be, I learned that from my days in French class. Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Langella.
Yes, I'm happy to talk about Diana. So Diana is Revolue. Diana is the embodiment of a community activist. So I think she came here tonight from a meeting at the Parent Teacher Institute. So, NAACP member of the DTC. She's on several city governance school commissions. And professionally, she is the founder of the ACE organization, which helps children find their voice through artwork. And she's also well-versed in real estate. It's a big passion of hers. So I think her combined experience with real estate, as well as her passion for helping people find a voice, would kind of fit naturally with representing our tenants and landlords here in Norwalk.
Hey, any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Young.
Ditto.
Any further discussion or dittos? Ms. Young, I'm sorry.
You want me to say it again?
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Thank you. Next item is Mr. Matt Gifford for the Harbor Management Commission. Do I have a motion? Mr. Keegan.
As Harbor Commission Chair John Romano made reference to Mr. Gifford's resume, his knowledge of our local waters and many water-related organizations that he is involved with. I believe our cities will be extremely well served by Mr. Gifford's appointment to our commission.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is appointment to the Oak Hills Park Authority for Babar Sheikh. Is that the right pronunciation?
Close enough.
Close enough. Okay, close enough for government work. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion for Mr. Roberts.
I have a esteemed honor to be with Babar as well. He's a District A representative and also sits on the DTC as well. He's very open and active when he came to the actual district, and he's very known as a people's person. I know he will do a wonderful job with the Oak Hills Park Authority. He's very active in the city as well, with the public schools as well, with his kids as well. So I know he's going to do a wonderful job. So definitely support him.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Next, we have two reappointments to the Harbor Management Commission, Mr. Alan Kibbe and Mr. Dennis Santella. Move them together. Do I have a motion? Mr. Kites?
Yes, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Santella. I've heard many good things about you. Mr. Kibbe, on the other hand, I have known for quite some time. It seems like the other day we just appointed you. I don't know if you took over someone's term, whatever the case was. You did? Yes, okay. So that's fine. Knowing you as well as I do, I know you have extensive knowledge of our harbors, not just a knowledge of our harbors, but a love for our harbors. And I know you'd be the person I'd want to follow into our harbor in a dense fog. So I'm glad to see that you're being put up for reappointment. I fully support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Ms. Johnson.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to also say that I appreciate that the commission chair coming to speak tonight about the concerted effort they would like to make to diversify the commission, and I look forward to them cultivating particularly female candidates to bring forth to join the commission in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Congratulations. Those appointments or reappointments would step down. The city clerk will administer the oath of office to you. This way you don't have to come down to City Hall again if you don't want to. How do you pronounce your last name? Sheikh. Baba Sheikh.
We're going to do ladies first.
Ladies first.
What's her night? It's her night. You'll raise your right hand, please. You, Diana? Yes. Having been appointed to the Fair Rent Commission of the City of Norwalk, do solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office according to your best skill and judgment, so help you God upon the pains and penalties of perjury. Congratulations. There's 2 copies.
Sign both copies and give us one back.
Okay.
Or you can sign one copy and take the other one and sign it later. I don't care.
Geraldo?
No.
Is Geraldo not here? Okay.
No, Geraldo's here, but for what, though? He's
And
not
Nikki?
Geraldo's not on here. Oh, that's later on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You can.
The next one I find is...
Oh, the email? Yes, I got the email. Yes, but not the text. Congratulations.
Having been appointed to the Oak Hills Park Authority of the City of Norwalk, do solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office according to your best skill and judgment, so help you God, upon the pains and penalties of perjury. Congratulations. And you'll sign both for me. So who do we have? Alan and Matt. Gotcha.
So you can take that one with you. Thank you. Congratulations. Sorry.
All right. I'm going to do the 2 of you together. When I say you, just say your name. You. Having been reappointed to the been reappointed and appointed to the Harbor Management Commission of the City of Norwalk, do solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office according to your best skill and judgment, so help you God upon the pains and penalties of perjury. Okay, actually, those are, yeah.
Congratulations.
That's an appointment.
Thank you.
This one. This one is in. Got it. Okay, and then these 2 are coming.
You can take one with you, and you can leave one with us. And I'll take my pen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations.
Free drink.
Okay, next item on the agenda is mayor's remarks, and obvious remark that we will be discussing is the current situation with the coronavirus. We know that this is a serious situation, and I want everyone to know that my team and I are meeting on a regular basis to make sure that we're up to date with all the latest developments, the latest situation as it occurs in Norwalk. Just yesterday, I had a meeting with my cabinet chiefs and my department heads to ensure the continuity of operations for the government, regardless of what happens. As you know, there's been a lot of events that have been canceled throughout this community. And it's necessary to cancel those events so that we make sure that we don't have large congregations of people in one space at any given time, which increases the likelihood of a transmission or contracting coronavirus. We want to make sure that we minimize those chances. Just today, the governor of the state of Connecticut signed an executive order declaring a civil preparedness emergency and a health emergency in the state of Connecticut. And that gives him and municipal CEOs greater powers to control and mitigate the possibility of the spread of the coronavirus. So we're going to be monitoring this on a daily basis. We encourage people to keep up to date with the latest information, to implement universal protection procedures so that you can minimize the chance of exposure for you or your family. Try not to go to places where there are going to be lots of people and you're going to be face-to-face contact, because that's how it's spread. As you know, there's a lot we don't know about this particular strain of coronavirus. There is no virus. There is no inoculation right now that is going to be effective, so they're working on trying to find something. But in the meantime, use universal precautions. Make sure that you take all those kinds of things that people are saying out there. Wash your hands frequently. Don't cough into your arm or your elbow, and make sure that you do all those kinds of things. We will get through this. We are on top of things. And as I was about to say before, that we learn something new about this virtually every single day. Originally, it was thought that this is less contagious than the flu. We learn today that it's probably as contagious or more contagious, and that the virus can live on surfaces for perhaps more than a day. So we're trying to increase the way we clean our buildings, to clean our schools, making sure that we do everything we can to minimize the exposure. So, and today I had the unpleasant experience of having to cancel the St. Patrick's Day Parade this Saturday. It's unfortunate, but a lot of other communities have canceled their St. Patrick's Day Parade, and while ours is relatively small, the likelihood that some of those that wanted to go to a St. Patrick's Day elsewhere might be coming into Norwalk. So it's a challenge, and we have to make the very, very difficult decisions. It's not easy. It's very difficult at times, but we still have to err on the side of caution and make sure that we consider first and foremost the safety and protection of our community. So I really do appreciate all the calls of support that we've gotten in my office from people thanking us for being on top of things and making sure that we're doing everything we possibly can. So again, thank you. And on a lighter note, as one of the speakers just mentioned, this is Women's History Month. And the city of Norwalk has issued a proclamation that I would like to read into the record in honor of all the women across the country and across the world. Women's History Month 2020, whereas every woman of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. Whereas women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of the life of the nation. Whereas women have played a unique role throughout the history of the nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force and were vital in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions. Whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement. Whereas women have served our country courageously in the military and as first responders in every community in our nation. Whereas women have been leaders in the suffrage and equal opportunity movements, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, to try and create a more fair and just society for all. Whereas we celebrate the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, which guaranteed and protected women's constitutional right to vote, we remember this did not extend to women of color, for the fight for equal rights is ongoing. And whereas we recognize, despite the many contributions of women, their role in history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of our history. Now, therefore, I, Harry W. Rilling, Mayor of the City of Norwalk, Connecticut, do hereby proclaim March 2020 as Women's History Month in Norwalk, and in doing so, call upon all residents to join me in celebrating, recognizing, and honoring the many contributions women have made in our community and throughout the country. In witness whereof, I have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Norwalk to be affixed this 4th day of March 2020. So congratulations to our women, and thank you to the women who serve on our Common Council. Thank you to the women who serve on our Board of Education. Thank you to the women who serve our community in many, many ways through boards, commissions, and through positions in my government and my cabinet. So congratulations to women. Let's give them a hand. And with that, I turn it over to the Council President, Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for that proclamation. And I would just like to take a minute to thank Mr. Romano. He's no longer here, but for his comments seeking more women to apply to the Harbor Commission. Ms. Lauricella, for your comments. We spoke today. Certainly, I think that the The men who were nominated tonight deserve their positions, but moving forward, we have to make a change, and you certainly have the commitment of the women at this table to work on that, as well as the men. We've been talking about it, so moving forward, we're going to do everything that we can to increase the number of women that are appointed. We have to work at it. I mean, there's 4 of us here, and we are over 50% of the population. It's difficult to get women to step up, but we're going to do it. And that being said, I would like to announce the reappointments of Geraldo Williams and Miklos Kolazar to the Ethics Board. I know that we have at least one member of the council that would like to comment. Go ahead, Mr. Burnett.
I'd like to comment on Mr. Williams. I've collaborated with him on several initiatives, and I've found him to be extremely thoughtful and diligent in his decision-making, and I think that is the type of skill set that we need to continue to have on the Ethics Board. I've even recruited him to serve on other boards, and I'm still working on it. But he is truly an asset to the city of Norwalk, and I fully support his reappointment.
Okay.
Chime in on that as well.
Actually, need a motion. We do have to vote on these appointments.
Oh, well, then I'll move
so
the motion on both of them, please.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then maybe Mr. Cadiz wants to speak.
Yeah, I feel obligation to speak to Mr. Williams as well. A lot of what the Ethics Committee does is behind closed doors due to legal requirements, but knowing your character, knowing your high standards, I feel any decision you are making are the right decisions. So I thank you again, because I believe you have served for quite some time, and I just know without seeing or hearing that you're doing a good job.
Any other comments?
I'll exercise my comment as a non-voting member, but I also know Mr. Williams and Mr. Kolazar, both of whom are of the highest integrity and very competent individuals and who have served the city well in many capacities. So I want to thank both of them. As we know, it is very difficult to get people to volunteer their time often, and when we finally get somebody, it's always gratifying to really pick the people with the quality of character that they have. So thank you.
Okay. All in favor of the reappointments of Mr. Williams and Mr. Kolazar? Unanimous? The consent calendar tonight will be read by Mr. Langella.
Thank you. Okay.
You want to swear them in first?
Oh, sure.
Okay, we'll wait.
Yeah, we'll swear them in first. If you'll come down, we'll administer the oath of office. Well, not how like this? Yeah. Well, hey, how you doing?
We did the two together.
Congratulations.
Okay. When I say you, just say you. Having been reappointed to the Ethics Board of the City of Norwalk, do solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office according to your best skill and judgment, so help you God, or upon the pains and penalties of perjury.
Congratulations, and thank you again for being willing to serve.
Congratulations. I'm sorry, not supposed to be. Forgot.
There goes mine. You're gonna sign and leave one with us, and
You know, better safe than sorry. He was in the hospital for a while.
Nope. This that one. Yep. That one.
Congratulations, man. Nice work.
Small places we're supposed to do that. We're now apparently an elbow bump, but yeah. I just
I'm sorry, Barbara. Now.
Congratulations.
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 I want to do that.
That's right.
Okay.
Good.
And now,
Okay.
Mr. Langella.
Thank you, Madam President. All right. 7A, Health and Public Safety Committee. Authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all documents necessary to apply for and accept grant funds from the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation in the amount of $49,669.92. Account to be determined. 7A2, authorize the Police Chief, Thomas Kulhawick, to execute any and all agreements, documents, instruments, and amendments thereto as may be necessary to implement all programs through the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation High Visibility Distracted Driving Grant pursuant to such grant funding. 7A3, authorize the purchasing agent, Sharon Connors, to execute a purchase order on behalf of the Police Department to SEAC Technologies for the purchase of IAPRO software as per sole source procurement request for an amount not to exceed $12,200. Accounts noted. 7A4, authorize the Police Chief, Thomas Kulhawick, to execute any and all agreements, documents, or amendments as may be necessary to implement IAPRO on a sole source procurement basis. Item 7A5, authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all documents necessary to execute a service agreement with LexisNexis Coplagic Solutions Incorporated. 7A6, authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, upon recommendation and review by the Corporation Counsel and/or Assistant Corporation Counsel, to execute memorandum of understandings between the Norwalk Police Department and other agencies for the purpose of permitting other agencies to use and access the Norwalk Police Department firing range for training purposes. 7C, Public Works Committee. 7.1, authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement between the City of Norwalk and Teague and Bond, Incorporated, to provide construction observation services for DPW capital projects related to the paving program for an amount not to exceed $210,850. Accounts noted. 7C. 2, authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute a lease agreement with the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation at no cost for the construction of a parking lot as part of State Project 102-350 Norwalk River Valley Trail, Phase 2. 7D, Land Use and Building Management Committee. 7D, 1A, authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement with the Champion Maintenance Contractor for New Canaan Avenue Fire Station Improvement Project for a total not to exceed $191,250. Account noted. 7D, 1B, authorize the Fire Department to issue change orders on the contract for a total not to exceed $19,125. 7D, 2A, authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute a contract with Allstate Construction, LLC, for the Norwalk Police Headquarters Rooftop Mechanical Equipment Replacement Project for a total not to exceed $30,112. Accounts noted. 7D, 2B, authorize the Office of Building Management to issue change orders on the contract for a total not to exceed $3,011. 7D, 3, rescind Common Council action of January 14, 2020, item V2.D, 3A and B, to correct the name of the company from Universal Business Services, LLC, to Universal Building Services, LLC. The corrected action shall read as follows. A, authorize the Mayor, authorize the Mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement with Universal Building Services, LLC, for a total not to exceed $64,839.96. Funds are available from account noted. 7DB, authorize the Office of Building Management to issue change orders on the contract for a total not to exceed $6,483.
Thank you. Well read, Mr. Langella.
Thanks.
All in favor of the consent calendar as read? Unanimous. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item 7B1, Ms. Smith, pass it right back.
Back to me. Okay. I would like to move and speak on, if I may, the approval of and vote on city procedure for compliance with Public Act number 19-111.
Smith moves the item.
Okay.
and speaks.
Thank you. Ms. Roselle, thank you for being here and for speaking. And I will ask Mr. Burney to address your questions. But I'd just like to explain the Public Act, how we got here, and acknowledge the work that you did to get us here. So you've already explained the situation. And what happened is last year, the Connecticut State Legislature passed the Public Act 19-111, and this bill allows for local legislators to vote to provide additional compensation to first responders who suffer injuries in the line of duty that will prevent them from continuing employment with the city or town as a first responder. And so Ms. Roselle worked, she lobbied very hard. She worked with Bob Duff, who introduced the bill in the state legislature, and it passed last May. And so after that, it came to the cities and towns to establish the process. And so that is what has been going on for quite a number of months in the Community Services and Personnel Committee. So we have been back and forth with Mr. Burney and the HR department through our legal department. So I want to thank both the legal department and Mr. Burney for all of your work. In particular, Brian Candela, who advised us. And what I would like to do is just read, I'm not going to read the whole thing. We all have it in front of us, and it is in public record. But I do just want to read the first two paragraphs here. The Connecticut General Assembly has enacted Public Act number 19-111. This Public Act provides that effective October 1, 2019, under specific circumstances, the legislative body of a municipality can provide by 2/3 vote additional compensation to certain retired public safety employees who have suffered a severe bodily injury in the line of duty. The text of that Public Act is attached and is incorporated by reference into this procedure. Section 1C of Public Act 19-111 requires that a municipality providing for compensation in accordance with this section shall establish procedures for the evaluation of any retired public safety employee considered for such compensation to determine such person's eligibility. And so just so that's clear, what we're voting on tonight is simply the procedure by which this would happen. We are not voting on any monies. Okay, so if I could just ask Mr. Burney to address some of Ms. Roselle's questions and any of our questions.
So this act became effective October 1st of last year. After it became effective, I drafted a proposed procedure. That proposed procedure was reviewed and commented on by Corporation Counsel, by our outside counsel that handles workers' compensation, by the representatives from KERMA that we deal with on our workers' comp cases. When we had a draft to present to the Personnel Committee, we did. We went through 3 or 4 meetings with the Personnel Committee, taking in their suggested changes to the procedure, and the final product that you have in front of you is the procedure that we put together to comply with the last paragraph that was just read in the act that says a procedure must be established. The procedure has all of the standard safeguards in it that any legitimate policy would have in it when you're talking about distributing taxpayer funds. So it's all checks and balances. I would keep in mind, as the President just said, this procedure is for city procedure for all applicants who may fall into this category. It's not for any individual, and it's supposed to be an enduring policy that allows the Common Council, who's vested with the authority to grant additional monies to an injured employee. It allows them to have a fully informed set of facts as to exactly what happened, what monies have been paid, what monies have not been paid, what the complete picture is, so that at the end of the day, when you have to make a decision as authorized by this legislation to add or not add additional compensation to that injured employee, you have all the facts in front of you when you make that decision. And that's what the intent of this procedure is.
Did we not have a procedure or an avenue in which to, I guess, circumvent this statute currently in the city?
The legislation, the Public Act that was passed last year was new to the state. It's a statewide piece of legislation that was effective October 1st. Prior to that, there was nothing in the city that I am aware of that would cover that same turf.
Any further discussion?
Okay.
Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Rozelle, for your hard work on this. We appreciate it. Next item, item 7C3, Mr. Sirenides.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Authorize the Chief of Operations and Public Works to purchase household food composting kits for pilot food scrap collection program from special revenue account noted for a sum not to exceed $10,000. Money collected from the sale of these composting kits will be deposited back into the same special revenue account. I just want to add that this is another example of the city's Go Green initiative and showing that we're following suit, we're listening to the people and their concerns, and we do care about the environment and recycling. I want to thank Public Works along with Ms. Shanahan, Mr. Livingston for their hours. They put a lot of hours in. They traveled around to see how other municipalities were doing the work. And we are looking to launch this program in Royan at the community center mid-May with a full launch for the whole city at the Norwalk Transfer Station in July.
Mr. Livingston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to echo the comments. This is a small but very important first step. As many of us, not everybody knows, but food waste makes up, I've heard, somewhere around 19% of municipal food waste, and anything we can do to reduce that waste is environmentally a great idea. It also saves the city money. And I want to commend the mayor and the Department of Public Works and Mr. Carr and Jessica Palladino for all their hard work in moving this along, because I think it's a really important step that we're taking. And again, this is the first step. It's a pilot program. It'll be rolled out first in Rowan, as was mentioned, and then off to the, into the city. And if all goes well, hopefully it gets rolled out further.
Ms. Shanahan.
I just want to give a little bit more information about getting some public information out, because this is a new initiative and not everybody knows what goes into the food waste bin and what doesn't go in the food waste bin. And we're going to have a seminar or a little lecture at the Rowayton Community Center on April 29th at 7 p.m., where we'll have Anthony Carr and Jessica Palladino there to help us learn more about what goes and what doesn't go in. We'll also be selling the bins that George mentioned, and you don't need to have a bin. You don't need to have the bin for the counter. You don't need to have the bin for the garage, but what you do need to have is the compostable bag. So we will be selling those as well. And I'm just going to mention that you can only use a credit card because the city only takes credit cards. So please, if you come to buy your bins, please make sure you bring a credit card. We're also going to be selling bins at the Rowayton Gardeners plant sale, which is on May 16th, which is a Saturday. And there'll be more details to follow about that. But we're very excited about this. Rowayton is 100% behind this. We have the good luck that we have a Rowayton Elementary School that's been doing food composting for a little while. So we feel as though we have a good cohort of people who are going to know what to do and get right started right away in May.
Any further discussion? I want to thank Mr. Sirenides as the chairman of the Public Works Committee and members of the Public Works Committee, but I also know that Ms. Shanahan and Mr. Livingston worked very, very hard to get this done, and truly appreciate all your hard work and effort. This is really something that's truly important, and it's a real good step in the right direction. Thank you. So, seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Do I have another motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Took too long.